friends and welcome to Sarah's Next Chapter. My name is Sarah and this is my little cosy corner of the internet where I share all my bookish related thoughts and musings. And today I'm going to be going through the books that I have read in October, doing a little October reading wrap up. So as always, grab your beverage of choice and let's get into it. Today I am drinking some diluting juice, Vimto diluting juice. Or it's called squash, I believe, in England. I don't actually know what Americans call this. And I've been thinking about that before the start of this video. I was like, what would Americans call diluting juice? If you're American, let me know. Anyway, that's what I'm drinking today because I've had my daily cup of coffee and I'm trying to drink more water. So, let's get into it. So in October, I read 2 books and I listened to 2 audiobooks, which is really good on the audiobook front for me because I don't typically listen to a lot of audiobooks, so 2 in 1 month is a lot for me. So the first book I read in October was The Whistling by Rebecca Netley. I read all the books. The 2 books that I read in October, I read in my Kindle, so I'll have pictures up here. I really love reading on my Kindle when it gets into the darker winter months because I just can't be bothered sitting with lights on or using like reading lights for physical books. So I read a lot, or predominantly on my Kindle during the darker winter months. So anyway, I read The Whistling by Rebecca Netley. This is a gothic horror novel set on a remote island off the coast of Scotland called Skelthsea. Our main character, Elspeth, takes a position as a nanny in this old sort of manor house over there. The little girl that she is nannying has been rendered mute by very, very tragic events that have happened. She tragically lost her brother and also the previous nanny left. So this little girl, it doesn't speak. No. Yeah, mute. Yeah, that's when you don't speak, yeah. Good. I thought I messed up there. No, mute is when you don't speak. So she doesn't speak anymore and just seems very, very troubled by everything that has happened. So our main character goes over with the ambition to be her nanny and hopefully get her talking and getting her life feeling a little bit more normal. However, as you can imagine, it is a gothic horror novel, so some very strange, unexplainable happenings are going on in the house and around the island, and our main character basically ends up trying to get to the bottom of this mystery. I really enjoyed the vibes in this book. I love a gothic horror novel. It was also seemed to be set in the kind of Victorian era. I don't think it gave us an exact date, but by going off of what the characters were wearing, how they speak, there was like dolls and dollhouses mentioned and just various things like that. I kind of get the impression that it's a Victorian era story, which I like. And yeah, so it was here for the vibes. I liked it. Only thing I will say is the ending. Before I sat down to film this video, I was like trying to recall the ending, and I recall it up to a point, but I'm not actually 100% sure if I remember how it fully wrapped up. So maybe that's a sign that the ending was a little bit anticlimactic, that I can't quite recall it. I gave this one a 4-star rating on Goodreads, and perhaps that's why, because I think maybe the ending just didn't quite do it for me, and maybe I wanted a bit more of a climax, a bit more of a dramatic ending. I don't know. That was The Whistling by Rebecca Netley. I'll go through my books first and then I'll talk about the audiobooks. So the next book I read, physical book I read in October, was The Blue Hour by Paula Hawkins. Now you might notice a theme here because The Blue Hour is also set on a remote Scottish island called Erris Island. So this is actually a tidal island, so it is only accessible half of the day, and then the pathway is covered by the tide and you can't access it. So I did do a more in-depth review in my previous video, so I'm not going to talk too much about this one in this video because if you've already watched my previous one, I don't want you to be bored, okay? But The Blue Hour is, as I said, set on a tidal island off the coast of Scotland, and it revolves around a work of art by an infamous artist called Vanessa Chapman, who has passed away, and her sculpture piece called Division 2 is on display in a gallery when someone notices that a bone that was previously believed to be animal in this sculpture might actually be human. And from that point on, a whole mystery and scandal unravels. So I did like this book, and it was a fast-paced read, as you would expect from Paula Hawkins. She also wrote The Girl on the Train and other thriller books, so it was definitely fast-paced, definitely didn't want to put it down. However, I don't think we got enough of the vibe of the island. I was really looking for that like isolated, I don't know, I think I was looking for her to use the island more as a character than it was. So yeah, I would have liked a bit more from that. But it was really fast paced. So I mean, I feel like that's all you're really looking for in a thriller. Do you know what I mean? You're not looking for it to be life changing. You're just looking for a bit of excitement to get you through the day. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was The Blur by Paula Hawkins. I gave that 4 stars on Goodreads as well. So let's get into the audiobooks that I listened to in October. The first one I listened to was Sociopath, a memoir by Patrick Gagney. So as it says in the title, this is a memoir from a diagnosed sociopath called Patrick Gagney. Now, Patrick is spelt with a C and no K at the end, and it is a woman. I don't know if that is a pseudonym. I don't know if their real name is Patrick, but anyway. Or if it's like Patricia, I don't know. But anyway, it's a woman that's writing this book. So she's been diagnosed as a sociopath, and it is basically, well, it's a memoir. So it is a collection of stories from throughout her life and how she has dealt with her sociopathic tendencies, what outlets she has found for them, the troubles with psychology and their ability to diagnose and help sociopaths. She also talks about how the entertainment industry in particular really brands sociopaths as these extremely destructive, dangerous people, when in actual fact, obviously, yes, there are a portion of sociopaths that are extremely dangerous. However, not all sociopaths should be tarred with the same brush. And actually, there are measures and things that we can put in place to help people with sociopathy thrive in their daily lives, as opposed to just painting them out as these Hollywood villains like American Psycho or whatever. That brand of psychopathy, sociopathy is quite extreme. So yeah, I found this really, really interesting and insightful. I am really interested by psychology in general and the idea of psychopathy and sociopathy and just different ways in which people's brains are wired. I find really fascinating. I thought this was a really, really good memoir, and it was very candid. I felt like she was very candid and honest, and it wasn't like, I felt like she wasn't trying to say, I'm completely guiltless. Like, she was very much like, I have done bad things and I have used sort of less than desirable coping mechanisms throughout my life, but I'm still a valuable person, and there needs to be more done to look into sociopathy, what it actually is, and how people with sociopathy can navigate their lives in a less destructive manner for themselves as well as society. So I just thought it was a really, really interesting memoir, and I gave it 5 stars. And last but not least, the last audiobook that I listened to in October was Dear Fatty by Dawn French. So this is a memoir by Dawn French. And I just needed something to give me a bit of a laugh, to be honest. I'm going to get a little bit real for a second. October was a rough month for me mental health wise, which is not something I like to talk about too much, but I actually think it's very important these days to just be open and honest, especially if you are someone that doesn't talk about that side of things too much. October was just rough for a multitude of reasons. I just felt very down and anxious, and I just wanted to listen to something that was kind of light-hearted, was just like stories about people's lives that I could kind of lose myself in, and that maybe would make me laugh or make me feel like life wasn't so bad. That got dark. So yeah, Dear Fatty by Dawn French did exactly that. It did exactly what it said on the tin. It was funny, it was insightful. Don't get me wrong, there were of course sad parts as well, because it's a memoir and nobody leads a perfectly happy normal life. That just doesn't exist. So yeah, but it was written obviously by Dawn French, and she just has a uniquely funny perspective on things. It wasn't read by her, it was read by Lisa Tarbuck, who is a female comedian. And yeah, I think it was nice to have that slight bit of distance between, like, it was Dawn French that had written it, but obviously the stories were extremely personal, so I think it was a good call of hers to have it narrated by someone else. And I thought Lisa Tarbuck did a great job of that. So it was easy, you know, it wasn't a life-changing listen, but I enjoyed it. It definitely did the job of lifting my spirits a little bit. And I gave it 5 stars. So there we have it. That is my October reading wrap up. Let me know if you've read any of these books or if you're interested in reading them after hearing me talk about them. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you do enjoy my videos. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!